If you need any My Team grinds in any mode, hit up my boy Witty for safe, reliable, and the cheapest grinding services around. Hit him up on Twitter. You won't be disappointed. Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're going to be ranking the best small forwards in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM here on this tier list. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, tons of consistent daily MyTEAM content. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. I upload every single day, multiple videos a day. Would really appreciate it, like I said, if y'all do subscribe. And I'm trying to mix this up a little more so that I don't just have all the opals in a line, all the dark matters in a line and stuff. But we have pretty much, I would say, all the best opal and dark matter small, really every single eligible small forward who's a primary small forward, mainly not like shooting guard small forwards, but the small forwards who are opals and dark matters. And then got a few of the good pink diamonds as well. So if there's some guys I left with the list you'd like to hear my thoughts on, feel free to leave a comment. I'll let you know. But with that being said, we will start off with dark matter Larry Legend. And I think Larry, in all honesty, look, this is a very top heavy, not even top heavy list. This is a very deep list. There's only a couple of cards in this list that I actually don't like. And so that's going to make it pretty tough to rank this, because I'm going to have to be pretty low on some cards to get some C and D tier guys for some cards that are actually pretty good. Larry Bird, I'm going to go low B. I almost want to go C. His stats and badges are awesome, but his jumper, his upper is just not good, and his SIGs are not great either by any means. I just don't think he's that good of a card. Some people love him, I guess. I've got a couple of comments, people saying that they like the card a lot, but in general, I don't think he's very good. I'm not very high on Larry Bird. I think B or C is really, for what he is as a dark matter with amazing stats and badges, he underperforms is what I will say. So I think B tier is totally fair. Larry Johnson, I'm going C tier, just not special. He's not elite defensively. He's not a shot creator, really. His shot's fine, but not great. He's only 6'7". He's not bad, but on a list that's as strong as this one, I think he's towards the lower end. So I'm going to go C tier with Larry Johnson. LeBron is S tier. LeBron is a beast. That should be no surprise to anybody. Card is phenomenal. Great fade, great jump shot. Jumper's on very quick as well. Now, the only thing LeBron doesn't have is great shot creation ability, and that does hold him back a bit, but not enough to not put him in the S tier. He's still one of the 3 best small forwards in the game for sure. James Worthy is also going to go in the C tier. I'm not a fan of that card, to be totally honest. I think the jumper is really ugly, and it hurts what is otherwise a very solid, well-rounded card, but I just don't like his shot this year, and I think realistically C tier is totally fair for James Worthy. I like Glenn Rice a lot. I love his jump shot. I think defensively he's pretty good. He doesn't have great shot creation, but the shot is elite and the stats and badges are nice and well-rounded. I get he's only a pink diamond. I think he's one of the better options on this list, especially for like a free card, budget card type card. I really like him. I think he's very solid, and I'm going to put him A tier. I would rather have him than Larry Bird. I'm not exaggerating. That is, I truly believe that. Michael Beasley's S tier to me. Unbelievable offensively, the best offensive small forward in the game, and it's not even particularly close. He's got great shot creation and an incredible jump shot, not to mention he's big and versatile, solid defender, and an incredible slasher. I love the card. He's my starting small forward right now. If you know how to shot create, Beasley is your guy. S tier for sure. Andre Kirilenko, awesome defensively. Offensively, the jumper's good, the slashing's okay. The movement, he's got one good sig, which is his escape, otherwise not great, but I like the card a lot. I think he's very solid. I think he's definitely A tier without a doubt. There's just a lot of really good small forwards, so I have a hard time putting him S tier, but A tier for sure. Big fan of AK. Carmelo's going to go B tier. I just think defensively he's not that great. His shot creation isn't incredible either. I do like his jumper. He's a good slasher. He's a fine card, not an insane card, but definitely a good one at the small forward position. I think B tier is fair for Carmelo. I don't like Zion's jump shot, and he's only 6'6". I am legitimately putting him in the D tier. There has to be a couple of D tier guys. There's only 2 other guys on this list that I think are worse than Zion. So in my opinion, yes, he is actually going in the D tier. I'm not a fan. Undersized, don't like the jumper. He's not a shot creator, really. I'm just not a very high fan of the card. Giannis is obviously S tier. I think Giannis is probably the best small forward in my team right now, in all honesty. I love the card. He's huge, and honestly, his finishing is incredible, but I like the fact he's more of a threat as a shooter as well now. His jumper's on quick. He's got hot spots. His opal did not have that, but I also have kind of recently been converted to the side of size and interior finishing ability is extremely valuable, even at the small forward position, and Giannis gives you both of those things at 6'11" with elite finishing animations, and I just think he's really useful. He's a great mismatch attacker as well with his size, and he's a dominant lockdown defender at his size and defensive versatility. So S tier for Yaya. If Jalen Williams was 6'8", he'd probably be A tier, but at 6'5", he is C tier. Jumper's nice. Darius Garland dribble style is good, but I'm sorry, does not do enough overall to be higher than the C tier just because he is so undersized. At 6'5", I think that is the right spot for J-Dub. I'm going to put Opal LeBron in the A tier. I don't think he's as good as his Dark Matter just because his jumper is not on very quick. The Dark Matters is. Now, it's still a good jumper. He is still a top tier option, but if I only have 5 cards in the S tier, I don't personally think that Opal LeBron is one of them. It's close, but I personally would put him in the A tier. I just think the jump shot difference between him and Dark Matter Braun is big enough. And honestly, I mean, realistically, if I'm putting multiple versions of the cards on the list, which I decided to do with this Braun and with Giannis, I guess, because they have multiple versions. Maybe I should have done with KD as well. I didn't, but I think A tier is right for this LeBron. I think the jump shot difference matters, and I'm not as high on Braun as I have been all year, in all honesty. And his Pink Diamond would also still be A tier, by the way. Still a very good card. Montes Buzelis is a 6'10" dude with a money jump shot and well-rounded stats and badges as well. 99 driving dunk, solid defender, great speed, 6'10" at the small forward position. He's legitimately really good. I think he's B tier, and I have no issues with him in that spot at all. Honestly, if you wanted to argue A tier, I wouldn't be that mad at you. Very good card. Big fan. Paulo Banchero, not top 5 at small forward in my opinion either, but very close as well. A tier seems like the right spot for Paulo. 6'10", again, big, versatile, elite slasher with a bulky player, but is complete defensively, just really, really good. His Diamond's been great all year. His Opal came in and is just a better version of the Diamond. Really good card. I think he's A tier. By the way, I am going to move Glenn Rice down to B tier. I don't feel like he quite fits in that A tier. He's a very good card, but I think he fits better in the B tier with the way that this list is. I would take him over Larry still, but I think B tier is probably the right spot for him. Terry Dishinger, I'm also going B tier, mainly because he's only 6'7". Shot creation wise, really good. Fade is great. Jumper's great. Defensively, he's solid, not insane. He's very similar to Rudy Gay. They're pretty much the same card, but I think size is the biggest thing that holds Terry back just a little bit. If he was a little bigger, he'd be A tier. As is, I think B is right. Karl Malone is going A tier for me. I understand he's only got a 60 ball handle, but he's got pretty good movement. Not to mention, he's an incredible finisher. 98 standing and driving dunk. Really high level versatility in terms of his size at 6'9" and his speed at 95. That athleticism that he has just the whole package. He's a really, really great card, and I'm very, very high on Karl Malone as a small forward option. I think he's definitely A tier. Xavier McDaniel, I think I'm going C with Larry Johnson. He's just, look, I actually like X-Man. He's a great slasher. He's good defensively. His jumper's fine. I'm going B. I think he's better than C tier, guys. But I don't think he can go higher than B. There's just so many good small forwards. He's a great free option, but there's so many good ones. I think I got to go B for X-Man. Jason Tatum's going to go A tier for me. Doesn't have the SIGs to be an S tier guy, but otherwise I like the card a lot. Jumper's nice. Slashing's nice. Fade is not. He's got a bad fade. It's annoying, but he is great defensively as well. He's well-rounded. He's versatile. He's a very, very good card. Sean Marion is a card that I was very high on when he came out. I just think his badges could use maybe a little bit of work. Jumper's nice, actually. I know it comes from his waist, but it's actually very smooth and easy. He's a good slasher, but he is a little bit undersized as well. I like the card. I don't love the card at this point. I think C tier is probably the right spot for him. Rudy Gay is a better Terry Dishinger, but I still don't know if that gets him above the B tier at this point. I think the A tier is so loaded that it's hard to put Rudy. No, I am actually going to put Rudy in the A tier. I think that that's fair because he's bigger than Terry. His wingspan is 7'3". He's noticeably big. I love his release, like love it. He's the same exact card as Terry, but bigger, basically. I think Rudy deserves the A tier. The player build's massive, and it really does make a difference when it comes to his defensive ability. I loved that card. I have used him since he came out until literally this last week in my main lineup. He was starting for most of it. I love the card. I think he's A tier, legitimately. Dennis Rodman, bad jump shot, not an elite shooter. I'm sorry. Great defensively, great athletically, great strength, all that type of stuff. But he's only 6'7". His jumper's not good, and his free ball rating is low. I think he's D tier. Elton Brand. I think he's a little worse than Karl Malone. I don't know if he's worse enough to be B tier. I think I'd take Rudy over him. I might even take Terry and Glenn over him. I think B is probably right. I think B is probably the right spot for Elton Brand. I like the card though. Curry Escape's really nice. Jumper smooth. Good finisher. Great size at 6'9". Again, bulky player build, versatile defender, good rebounder. Like overall, solid card. I like him a lot. I don't think I'd quite put him over any of the guys in A tier, but I do think B tier is totally fair for him. I am still a fan of the card. So Tim Thomas is going to be our last D tier guy. He's just not that good, to be totally honest. Jumper's bad, movement isn't good. He was great last year, and really, especially 2K23, he was a god. But in all honesty, this series card's just not good. Jumper's bad, movement isn't there. Tim Thomas, the legend from previous 2Ks, is not it anymore. Giannis is going to have 2 cards in the S tier because I do believe his Opal is still an S tier small forward. The Opal just plays so much defense. And I think I've really come around on Giannis cards as of late because the size and versatility that he provides small forward position is so valuable. I truly believe I'd rather have him than any of the guys in A tier. I would rather have his Opal. I think he's that good, even as a somewhat limited shooter. Big fan of the card. Then I will put KD in the S tier as well. He gets another S tier spot as well because I actually really like KD. Jumper's money, size-wise, 6'10", he's very good. He's got the stat and badge-wise completeness at this point. The jumper's now been sped up. His fade, I have decided I like it more than I thought I did after using it a bit. So I think overall, KD is also an S tier guy, and I think he's a very, very good card. I could move somebody down from B tier to C tier to even out the list a little bit, but I don't see anybody in the B tier who I think it's actually worth moving down. Maybe X-Man or Buzelis, but I like them more than I do the guys in C tier. So I think I'm going to leave it as is, and this is going to be the tier list for the small forward position. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.